Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over the second patch 5.3 live letter which came out yesterday, the 22nd of July, and quickly summarizing all the new info that we got within it. This is the first live letter coverage I've done, so we'll highlight all the info available, and potentially for some subjects we may dedicate an entire video to them, just to go into a bit more detail and give you more of the fine information about what's going to be going on with them. Due to the delays to patch 5.3, this was a very long live letter, so there is a lot of information to cover. But I'm super excited to see what the patch will deliver, and all the new content that will be coming out. This is going to be my first major patch while playing Final Fantasy XIV, so very excited for what it's going to deliver. So firstly, we're going to be getting our conclusion to the Shadowbringers main story quest. This will serve as the wrap-up for our adventures in the first. And if any of the previous 0.3 patches from old expansions or anything to go by, we can assume this chapter is going to go out on a bang. From our potential end to our interactions with the Crystal Exarch, our search to find a way to bring our Scion allies back to the source, and hopefully some closure on Elidibus' awakening of the Ether within the Citizen Zone for the first, this looks to be a grandiose finale for what has so far been an incredible story throughout Shadowbringers. With the MSQ finale, it will also bring a new dungeon and a secret final boss trial as well. The dungeon, we know, is going to be called the Hero's Gauntlet, and it seems to be set around Ilmeg. I'm personally looking forward to having another dungeon thrown into the Expert Roulette, and from the images we've seen and the previews of this dungeon, it looks very cool. As for the trial, things are rightly being kept very secret at the moment, as this will likely be our final big boss fight for the expansion, but I'm super excited to see who we're going to be going up against, and I know speculation will be rife amongst many of us. Despite all the secrecy around the new final boss trial, we will, however, be getting access to a new trial difficulty level called the Unreal difficulty. These Unreal trials will be bringing back old trials from previous content and scaling them up to level 80 gameplay. These should be getting released at a pace of about one per patch. It'll be a nice opportunity to go back and fight some old bosses at our current gear level and present us with a new challenge. Once you've completed one of these Unreal trials, there will also be access to the new Faux Hollows minigame. Now, alongside the MSQ information, we'll also be receiving the next step in the Chronicles of a New Era questline. This will feature half of my personal favorite Eorzean buddy cop duo, with Gaius and the Empire's production of the new Ultima class weapons. There will unfortunately be no trial this time around, however from what we've seen in the trailer, it looks like we may be the one who gets the opportunity to go full Gundam and pilot the Sapphire weapon itself, which frankly I'm really excited for, and I can't wait to see what that's got to offer. I think the lack of trial with this section of New Era is a bit of a shame, but seeing as we're getting our big final boss trial with 5.3, I'm going to be excited to see what we're going to get in the next step of New Era, where there hopefully will be more trials. On top of this, there's something for those of you working away on your job-specific relic weapons. We'll be getting the next stage in the Bojan storyline with a new zone known as the Bojan Southern Front. This will be a large-scale instance, much like what we've seen in the level 70 relic weapon quest zone, and this will grant us access to the first step in upgrading your relic weapons. These weapons will continue to upgrade throughout the rest of the Point X storyline before we get the release of 6.0, and will be invaluable to bring into the new content when the next expansion comes out. So getting the first step in this is the beginning of a long, grind-filled journey that personally I'm very much looking forward to. The next major introduction to 5.3 we're getting, moving away from story, is going to be the Dwarf Tribe quests, which will be focusing on crafting this time around. We've already had our Combat Disciples and our Gatherers tribe so far, so this will open up a new opportunity for crafters, much like the Namazu served to do in Stormblood. I love the aesthetic of the dwarves so far in Shadowbringers, and I'm very excited to see what more stuff we're going to get around their storyline and their characters. This will also bring a bunch of quality of life improvements for the crafting systems overall. Crafters will now be able to use trial synthesis to test their stats, and rotation before committing to using materials on attempting a craft. We have some systems like this outside of game, but this being bought in-game I think will be just a really nice quality of life change. Speaking of quality of life improvements, alongside all of those, we're now getting a new custom delivery client, cleaning that up a little bit and making it a little bit more user-friendly. and we'll now be able to reverse search for recipes by using the materials as the starting search point. These are just nice little tweaks that are hopefully going to improve the user experience for all you people out there who are hooked on crafting like myself. Alongside all these quality of life changes, there will also be the next stage of the Ishgardian restoration. We're going to be continuing to work on the firmament and building new houses, and we'll be getting updates to the Skysteel tools, your crafting and gathering relic weapons. Now, back to combat-themed things. If you're like me, you'll hopefully be very excited about the next edition too. With patch 5.3, we're going to be getting the next part of the 24-man Nier-themed alliance raids, the Puppet's Bunker. From what we've seen so far, the aesthetics and style of the first raid blew me away. I personally can't wait to see what bosses are going to show up in this chapter for us to fight. Plus, on top of it all, there's a sweet new mount coming alongside this too, which I know there'll be a lot of us trying to get our hands on. So, plenty of people out there farming for that, and plenty of bad RNG to boot. We all know you're going to get beaten on a 97 roll. It happens to me all the time. It's going to be fantastic. Finally, there's a bunch of miscellaneous updates, including quality of life changes to parties grouping up together in Party Finder. No longer will you have to dismantle your party and all join individually onto one. If there's a group of 4 of you and a group of 4 other people, you'll now be able to just merge those parties together seamlessly. Improved cross-world functionality. New token vendors in major cities, so now you can have more reason to spend time in your favorite urban hangouts. And most importantly, for those with a passion for fashion, which we all know is the true endgame, there will be a fashion accessories menu, including parasols for those rainy days. And of course, how could I forget, with patch 5.3 comes a major overhaul to the Realm Reborn experience, and the content that is available to free trial players. If you've been thinking about trying out the game or have friends who've been thinking of testing it out for themselves on your recommendation, this will be a great time to pick things up and get stuck in. I'll go more in depth on this in a later video, because there's an awful lot of information to unpack, especially for newer players, but in quick summary, the free trial will now grant you access to all of the content up to level 60 and the entire Heaven's Ward expansion, including the 0.1, 0.2 and 0.3 post-expansion patch storylines. If, like me, you found the Realm Reborn to be a bit of a slog at times, you'll also be pleased to hear this has been cut down by about roughly 13%, mostly focusing on reduction in grinding stages and removing some of the bloat from certain sections. This should hopefully make the new player experience far more welcoming and easier to get into. This, in my opinion, is going to help people get through those early levels where you get accustomed to the world and they slowly try and teach you the basics of the game and get you into the really incredible parts of the story much, much quicker. Alongside these changes come the requirement for the completion of the Crystal Tower level 50 Alliance raids, which will now be mandatory for story progression, along with the Ultima end of main story quest section. And something a lot of us have been looking forward to for a while, flying in Realm Reborn areas. So break out your chocobos and take to the skies. That wraps up everything for the 5.3 live letter breakdown. I hope you're all as excited as I am for the new content coming August 11th, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I will catch you all real soon.